Are you ready?
Yes! I am now.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music,
and magic!
It was like melodrama. And this week we're looking at the 27th classic.
Yes.
Oliver and Company.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so excited for this one.
Do you like this one?
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, you might as well begin then with your IMDb.
Yeah, so released in 1988, 18th of November.
That name rings a bell. That
Date.
rings a bell.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's my sister's birthday. But it's
Wow.
also...
Just give out everyone's personal details.
Well, last week it was my birthday, so this week it's Holly's birthday.
Yep.
So yeah, Mickey celebrated 60 years since Steamboat Willie.
I've got a few facts on that one a little bit later as
Okay.
well, which we will link in.
So IMDb synopsis: a lost and alone kitten joins a gang of dogs engaged in petty larceny in New York City.
It's not really the synopsis though.
No,
It's
because he doesn't really get involved.
it's almost should be like when a lost kitten finds a new home, he has to choose between his friends and his new life.
Yeah.
I mean, my synopsis was, and it's more of a moral of the story rather
Okay.
than a synopsis. Try and steal a car and you might get adopted by the rich owners.
Yeah. Try it.
Moral of the story.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You
Disney.
never know.
Thank you.
You go to do something
Disney.
bad and something good happens.
Yeah.
This is again an hour and 14 minutes. And it's a really good length. It didn't need to be any longer.
No.
And yeah, it's this and Basil, like the hour and a quarter mark, I feel should have been stuck with for other films
Yeah.
that they
I do feel that this one could be a bit longer though.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did. So I mean, we'll get to it more.
Yeah,
at the end.
we'll get to it when we're
But yeah, I do think that there is room for just
Okay.
something extra.
okay. Now, for those who don't know, it's based on the story of Oliver, which was written by Charles Dickens.
Oliver Twist.
Yes. Which is about an orphan boy who befriends another boy who is a thief, and he thieves in a gang on behalf of their caretaker, who's doing it on behalf of someone else, who's the real villain.
Sounds like a pyramid scheme.
A bit like, yes. And yeah, so it's based on that, and there are things that they've kept true to the story, albeit it's in a different city and it's animals and not humans, but the basics are there, so they don't move too far away of the true story, which is good, because sometimes the original story, not true story. Although there was probably
it's based on the
life at that time. IMDb, it's only got 6.6 stars.
Okay.
Which I think it's too low, far too low.
I will say for this one, that's too low. I would have said that, because I was surprised about how high
Basil was. You did not like Basil.
I would have thought that this should have been the score for Basil.
Okay.
And Basil's score at 7 whatever should have been the score for this one.
Okay.
I did feel that this one deserved to be at least a 7.
At least, no, more.
Not to sound like Monica.
It cost 31 million, but it grossed 74 million plus. Now I put plus because IMDb has it down as 74 million, but I think that was like opening week or opening like
I think it's
initial
the first,
release.
Yes, I think
because
it's
it goes on to make a lot more, and I've got a fact about that. So yeah, director only one. George Scribner,
Yes,
who was part of the Black Cauldron, and Mickey's Prince and the Pauper.
So there was a co-director.
Yes, but he died.
No.
The Peter Young guy.
Nope.
Oh.
No. Peter Young was a
writer. Oh, I thought he was going to be a co-director.
No, he was writing it. Richard Rich.
Oh, but he fell out with.
Now,
we don't.
I'm going to say
okay.
that he was removed from the
studio.
the production due to creative differences. However, I do think that removed from the studio probably
is a nice way of putting it.
Yes.
Okay. So do you know the story?
No.
I don't either.
No, so he was sacked.
Okay.
Because of the way things were going.
Right.
And his attitudes.
Okay. So he wasn't willing to adapt to the new
I think the
changes
is yes.
That were happening. The
yes.
new people who were in charge.
I mean,
like Katzenberg. It's him, isn't it? It's him.
I'm not sure on that one, but
okay.
I do know that yes, some sources say he was removed from his post, which basically means sacked.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would have given him.
I'm surprised we don't know now.
I think it is out there, but I just
okay. Well, if anyone does know, please message us. Let us know. Either put it in the review that you leave.
Yes.
Or
threads.
Message us on Threads, or send us an email. We want to know because he was prominent. Good. Yeah.
It's prominent.
Yeah. Writers. Now there were many writers on this. Like the Black Cauldron. I don't think as many, but almost. But I just wrote down one name that stuck out rather than listing all the names. Tim Disney was a writer, and he is the great nephew of Walt Disney.
Wow.
And he is with the company for a while. So, and now I never knew that the nephew was involved. I thought it was I thought it stopped at Roy.
I am going to say this though, for anyone who has an interest in the Disney family, because obviously we don't really know a lot about. I think Diane Disney Miller.
Yeah,
was kind of the last that we hear of, and Roy Disney.
Yeah, it's now like the great grandchildren that are voicing their.
Go and read. Go and read that. There are some issues with Will's everything. So it just surprised me that he
and I looked him up, and he looks like his dad because it's Roy's son.
Well, that would be why, because obviously Ron Miller. I mean, Ron Miller, I will praise. I think he's one of those unsung heroes that.
To an extent,
yeah.
There are things that he didn't get right, but...
He was only there for a year, so he didn't have long.
No. Cast?
Yeah, I mean, I have some before it was made.
Okay.
Things. So, it's part of the Gong Show. So... You're looking at me blank.
Yes, no, we talked about this during the Black Cauldron. So this is when they have a meeting and everyone can just put ideas forward.
And it was because of the Gong Show that
this came.
Sorry, the Black Cauldron that the Gong. I mean, it's nicknamed the Gong Show. But basically, this was put up onto as part of this, and I think the Little Mermaid as well.
Okay.
So they were done at the same time. Yes, they were. Sorry, yes, I've written it down. Look at that, pitched at the same time. The one with this one is basically they. Sorry, I've lost where I am on the thing. So the reason why this one was accepted was Jeffrey Katzenberg had worked on an Oliver film in Paramount, and Pete Young basically suggested Oliver Twist, but with dogs.
Okay.
He went, I love it. Let's do it.
Brilliant!
Brilliant. The original title was Oliver and Dodger.
Okay.
And it retained that for a little while, actually. The original pitch, and this pitch, bear in mind, when it was released, this was still part of this in a 1987 draft, was that Sykes' Doberman were to kill Oliver's parents at the beginning, and Oliver would go on to a Batman-style revenge.
Yeah, I read that.
And
so glad they did not do that.
Yeah. I mean, what had happened is that was part of Richard Rich's
Okay. Well,
work,
okay.
shall we say. So that period.
In that sense, it's a good job that he was removed from his post.
George Scribner and Pete Young reworked the entire script and removed that. They looked at the thing and was like, right, and they looked at past stories, and I will say that actually I think this one has a lot to do with Lady and the Tramp as well. But when they looked at past stories, the 1960s, London was the biggest city. It was seen as fashionable. It was the swinging 60s, sexy, and so it's no surprise that 101 Dalmatians, although right at the beginning of the decade, was set there. Had that feel. In the 1970s, the Aristocats was Paris, because Paris became the new swinging city. So the 1980s was New York. And where better place for your dreams that come true.
Yeah.
And which is what Oliver in the original story wanted, a family.
Yeah.
It was also noted that in the 1960s and 70s, the suburbs were your kind of fashionable and popular places to set things. So if you look at all the films from that period, not just Disney, but you'll find they're set on practically Wisteria Lane and Desperate Housewives. However, by the 1980s, it's all about city living. Yeah. And it's about New York. And if you think
it's fast-paced, it's noisy, it's
and if
real.
you think about how many films in the 1980s then start being set in New York. I mean, just around this time, Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah, Trading Places.
Yeah. It literally...
Coming to America.
Yeah.
Like, the list goes on.
It transformed. So the fact that this was riding on the New York wave, I think was just really, really clever. Because that really... Well, it brought Disney right up to date. Yeah. I mean, when this was released, I mean, the people who were involved were just... Yeah. So that was all the way up to the point of when they were doing it, and then I've got some information about how the film was made. But yeah, let's go on to the cast.
Okay, so cast. Right, Oliver. Now, I said last week about how I believe that this film is the beginning of animated movies having a star-studded cast. Yeah. A Hollywood cast. Yeah. And a cast list that the company would use to sell
Do you know what?
the picture.
I had to narrow this down to 4 because of the amount of people in this that we would know from elsewhere.
Well, I've just gone with the big names, so I've not listed all the characters because there's a few.
I've just got the top 4.
So Oliver is played by the gorgeous Joey Lawrence.
Yes.
And I love that he is sort of, him and his brothers are making a podcast, a comeback with their own podcast called the Brotherly Love Podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend, because they just talk rubbish and about their early childhood careers. It's so funny. But I know him as Blossom's brother because I watched Blossom. That was before Clarissa and Sabrina. Blossom was what
It's funny you should say that because now, well, I think it's ended now, but he is most likely known to audiences as Joey.
Yeah, Melissa and Joey. Yeah, I wrote that down as well, which is
Melissa
hilarious.
Is
Sabrina. And he also did a film with his brothers called a series with his brothers called Brotherly Love. But he's done.
He was Chad in a Goofy movie.
Yes,
that's what I've
right.
This one.
But yeah, Dodger. Yeah, Dodger.
Just so you know, we're talking about Dodger.
Right, Dodger is voiced by the very talented and New Yorker himself, Billy Joel. Now, what's with the face? Is that
I really like Billy Joel.
Okay, good.
He's a very handsome man, shall we say. But
Well, he was.
He was, yes.
Yeah.
But his music's just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Like, my dad was heavily into Billy Joel. So his music was on in my house.
Well, at the time of this film's release, he already had 10 solo albums.
Oh my God.
And he was working on his 11th. I think he's got like 20-something. But he is... Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to listen to his, catalogue.
Do you know what? I think my thing with him is the songs of his that I really like. And then the songs that I've never heard of that are like, oh, I like that one, and I'll add it on. And then there's What's Going On. And I think... But, as I say, the ones I really like, I'll have on all the time.
I always assumed that he had something to do with the music in this film, and it turns out he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
But we'll get to that when we get to the music.
I'll tell you who does, though, which really... I still can't believe that Billy Joel doesn't have anything to do with the music, but Barry Manilow does.
I know!
It's like...
I know!
Barry Manilow.
Okay. But, yeah. So, this is his only voice acting credit, and only acting credit where he's played a character and not himself. So he has played parts where he's been himself, but yeah. So this is only role as another character.
I wonder if he did any, acting training or anything like that.
I think growing up in New York possibly would have picked it up, or would have definitely been in scenes with
New York, wrong.
New York.
New York. I'm walking here.
Apparently he did his audition over the phone.
Yes. So he did the audition, and at the end of the call, they said, "You've got the job."
Yeah.
So it's like...
I can't believe he had to audition, to be fair.
Do you know what? I think he probably had to audition the voice as in the acting side.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think he would have had to have sung.
No.
I think it would have been...
But I feel like if you're offering a role to somebody like him, you would have an idea that he could... But yeah, I think it was done over the phone simply because he was,
He was away, he was in a different country.
Yeah. I was going to say he was on the other side of the States, but yeah, he was in, I think it was London or something, was it? Yeah.
Down road.
Yeah.
He just had a daughter.
Oh yeah, with Christine...
I don't know.
She was like a supermodel, Christine something. And his daughter is a spitting image of him.
Basically, he just wanted her daughter to enjoy the Disney film that Daddy was in. Yeah. I think that's...
I hope she did enjoy it, because it's one of my faves. I certainly enjoy it. So...
Yeah, I mean, I think if he was... I'm not saying he's not popular now, but he's obviously not as he was then.
No.
Like, there's a decline in popularity due to the age group and all that.
Yeah, I mean, he has a residency at Madison Square Garden, which he repeatedly does. So when they're not playing sports, he's there performing, and has done on and off for years.
Luke, we're going to New York.
And I always hear of other celebrities saying, "Oh, I saw Billy Joel at Madison,"
Yeah.
you know? And that seems to be what he does now.
Yeah.
He's a homeboy, so he, sings and performs in his city for fans all year round. But, he still releases music, but it's not like he doesn't tour.
Yeah. And I think if he was in the position he was in the late 80s, now, and Disney were in the position that they've been in recently, I think he could have really gone, because it's such a shame that this film kind of came before it's the start of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Whereas if it came after that, or part of this new Renaissance they've got, I think maybe the daughter would have loved the Disney film that Daddy was in. It's a bit like, I was in a Disney film. Oh, which one?
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King. Yeah. I was in Oliver and Company, and it's like, never heard of that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's in that sense, it felt like his talent was a waste, but
at the same time, he was perfect for this role.
Absolutely perfect. And what I wrote down as well is Dodger is actually based visually.
Yeah.
With the glasses and the little bandana scarf on him. And it just fits.
Yeah.
It just fits.
And even the fact that there's a scene where Dodger ends up on a piano.
Yeah. And it's...
And he's famous for, like Elton John,
he's the Piano Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's his song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, absolutely spot on, perfect casting with that one.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, with all of the casting.
Oh yeah, no, but I just mean that is
for someone who isn't like a known actor.
Yeah. I mean, if this is his only thing where he's not played himself, then this is almost like, I don't know, Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm. As if she had done,
when she was in Cats.
Oh, yeah.
That marvellous film.
No, I haven't watched it. I've not tortured myself, so...
You're so lucky. You've watched Basil.
Completely different.
You watched Make My Music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was torture.
Yeah. Better than Cats. I've watched Cats.
I don't know. I've not watched it.
No,
so
I've watched Cats.
Didn't make that mistake.
I would watch Make My Music twice in succession than watch half of Cats. I came out of that cinema, honestly, like with my eyes scratched.
Oh my god. Okay, so the next character I've got down, Fagin. Because I feel like...
about him,
right, so I feel like next to Oliver and Dodger, he's kind of like the next one in the story that's quite popular and people will know the name. So Fagin is voiced by Dom DeLuise. Now, he did pass away in the early 90s, but if you've watched any animated film in the 80s and early 90s and watched any Mel Brooks films, you will know who Dom DeLuise is. So I've just written a couple that people might know because he has, considering...
Let's see if I know them.
Okay, so All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes.
An American Tale.
What? Yes.
Secret of Nim.
Yes. Oh, Don Bluth loves him.
Well, he gave up the role of a Don Bluth film to be in this because he always wanted to voice a Disney character, and it would be his only Disney character that he would voice as well. And before he became a well-known voice actor, he was in Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
Yeah, as well as other
funny
parts, but he's in Blazing Saddles. So he's like, I mean, his voice is very well known.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, that's Dom DeLuise.
Do you know what? I knew his name. I knew his voice. Couldn't tell you where I've known them from.
Right.
But when you've just listed those, I was like, that's why. That's why I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sykes, the villain. It's played by Robert Loggia. I don't think I wrote that right. Loggia. You'll know him from Big.
I won't.
Have you seen Big?
No.
With Tom Hanks?
No, I'm not saying that.
Have you seen the scene where he's on the piano?
I've seen nothing.
Have you seen the clip where he's playing the floor
DVD
piano?
Cover.
Okay, well, he's the department store owner, I think, of where Big, that's what the movie's called, sorry. Tom Hanks' character, the famous scene where there's a floor that you've not seen.
And
the floor piano, and he's playing chopsticks with his feet.
Yes.
The old man next to him, doing it with them, is Robert Loggia.
You should have led with the piano on the floor.
Well, I was trying to, but you kept saying, I've not seen it, I've not seen it.
You know, at the Early Learning Centre, they had a piano on the floor.
Did they?
I can't play any, like, chopsticks.
I didn't go
or
into that
like
shop.
That. But do you know what I can play? The EastEnders theme.
Of course you can, Stephen. Of course you can.
There I was. Do.
Oh, God.
And Old MacDonald had a farm.
Okay.
I can do that.
Oh.
I used to be able to do Jingle Bells, but...
Such a lost talent.
A lost talent. Look at those.
He was in... Bob! If you need a piano man.
You need a piano man, and Billy Joel's playing elsewhere, you know.
Yeah. He was also in Independence Day. He played the General.
Yeah, no, I have seen it.
And he was in Scarface, but I've only seen that once, and I can't remember what role he played. But those are his three big ones. But he wasn't the first choice. And I have written down who it was. I think, if I've got this right, it was Bill Murray? No, Marlon Brando. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So, Marlon Brando was offered the role of Sykes. Again, Eisner. So, he's going through... I could just imagine him sitting at his desk, you know, with those roulette address books. Who could I ring? Right, we've got this villain... Who could I ring up that, you know, maybe owes me a favour?
Oh, he's got, don't you?
Or could make this movie big?
He is sat there with the OK magazine. And he's flicking through. Bought it from Four Boys. He's flicking through.
But yeah, Marlon Brando.
I don't know, because of Godfather.
But then that would have just been... Because he's not
He would have
that.
been that.
He would have just played that. Or... I think Eisner would have expected them to play.
I think what you're saying is there was some unimaginativity.
Yes, it was clearly a, what big name could I get? Do you know what? I'm going to give Brando a ring.
Yeah.
I thought that was really bizarre.
I'm glad that Brando was like, I'm alright then.
Well, yeah, he was. He basically said...
Can you do it in the Scarface voice?
Afraid the movie would bomb. And I actually wrote down... Which I think is, I put karma, but I don't mean karma. I think is a bit funny that he turned this role down thinking that the film was a bomb when the end of his career was all of a bomb. Like, his last great role, it is irony, isn't it? Ironic, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, I think his last role that people will say, oh yeah, and it's not even... like a big part is Apocalypse Now. I think that was the last successful film that he did, because I'm sure after that he was so picky, and that he ended up, I mean, he did a film randomly with Matthew Broderick. I think that was like one of his last films, and
to be honest.
Yeah, but anyway, so no, Marlon Brando.
It's funny you should say that he thought that the film would bomb, because actually they thought that the next film would bomb, because it wasn't a
and it turned out
film.
no.
And yet We love a mermaid.
We do love a mermaid. Right, Georgette.
Book.
Book. Played by Bette Midler. Now, for those who are maybe, unaware of this name.
I know Bette Midler.
Hocus Pocus, Beaches, First Wives Club, to name a few.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
But she grew up in New York.
Yeah.
She did the gay scene, the club scene, the show scene. And, yeah, I think she started off singer, entertainer, comedy.
Yeah.
And then slowly got acting roles. But she was already established actress by this point.
She actually claimed that this was, at the time, this was her favourite role.
Aww.
And then
it's going to be Winifred, isn't it?
Hocus Pocus came along. So this is now one of her favourite roles.
Yeah.
Watching this, oh gosh, she had fun.
Oh yeah, I could just imagine her in the booth.
What I really like about this film as well, I don't know if it was true about Billy Joel or Joey Lawrence, just because of their inexperience at the time. But another name that we're about to mention actually quotes to say that 25% of his lines were made up. He did that.
Yeah.
And he was allowed and they encouraged it. And I think Bette Midler must have done the same, because there are certain... I wish I could remember. I wanted to write it down. I remember at the time. And it's where she's got the bowl, Oliver's bowl. She presses the thing on the bin. She goes, whoops.
Yes.
And I was like, that is spot on.
Yeah.
And yet that whole sequence where she's like, not in the fish tank.
Yeah.
I know it was probably written like that, but it was some of the words that she was just, oh, no, not in here.
Yeah.
And then when she's singing the song, and she starts barking, like, and
I think clearly her, like, the way her eyes are drawn, is so like her.
Well, she's meant to be a 1940s, 50s,
Poodle.
60s film star.
Yes.
So you have the hair.
Yeah.
You have the descent on the staircase. There's a bit of Marilyn Monroe.
I mean, Bette Midler is known for her curly hair as well. I mean, it's all there.
It is there.
Yeah.
And
her essence is clearly been,
the fact,
put in.
What I think this is what I was getting at, is I can see, doesn't matter what line is written, she hits every single one of those comedy marks.
Yeah.
And sometimes, actors, actresses don't.
Yeah.
And for that character to be as likeable as she is, you need...
Even though she's a bitch!
She is. She's a villain as far as I'm concerned. She tries to get the dog kidnapped and then like, oops, afterwards.
Yeah.
With a little halo around her head. That could have failed.
If it had been anybody else.
Yeah. And I actually don't know. I don't know anyone now who could play that.
No.
Because I was trying to think of those kind of sassy divas. And, I thought of Beyonce, for example. I don't think she could have done that.
No.
She just... I'm not saying that she's not funny, couldn't hear any of that, because she is a good actress we've seen.
Yeah.
We've had. But...
It needed a certain...
It needed someone with the voice, the right voice, and that, I think...
That's good casting.
The only other person, it's only because we've been watching them as well, who I thought could maybe have made this work, Megan Maloney... Karen from Will and Grace.
Yeah, Megan Mullally.
Yes. But then, was she around at the time of
Don't know.
the 80s? Because I think Will and Grace was her step into television and film. I know it's not film, but yeah. Same sort of. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. And now I'm going to let you all into a little secret. That song is on my Disney playlist.
Is it?
And I will do the bark sound. Whether I'm in the shower, whether I'm cleaning, whether I'm at work.
Yeah.
Those bark sounds happen. And, yeah, I admire the fact that she did that.
Yeah.
My last thing on Bette Midler is she did return to the Disney animated classics. She hosted a little bit of Fantasia 2000.
Yes, she did, yeah.
And did she play homage to this? Or was it Hocus Pocus? When she's speaking, I'm sure she links back to her time voicing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. What, in that segment? Or in Fantasia?
Yeah, or maybe in publicity around it.
Maybe.
I don't, but, yeah.
Okay. Rita.
Yes.
Now, when I was little and I watched this, she was my favourite. I don't know why. I loved the look of her.
Yeah.
I always wanted her as a dog. I thought she was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I would have went to her more than Dodger.
Yes, she was I liked Frances.
Yeah. Not Frank. Not Frankie.
Not Frankie. Frances. And I actually, although Georgette is my favourite from this, I can't stress that enough from this film. Georgette is the one. Yeah, there was something about Rita that was like...
I loved the way her hair...
Just over the eyelids.
Yeah.
She was very...
And she was pretty.
If
Even though she was a
dog,
a stray dog, yeah.
Do you know what? If she was a human, I'm thinking baggy jeans, like on the hips as well, with the rips on the knees.
Yeah.
The hair that just flops over, like the long fringe kind of thing. Headphones and like a vest top with her belly showing. That is who I imagine her to be. And yeah, she was cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Always liked her. So she's played by amazing actress and singer, even though she doesn't do her singing voice, which shocked me. Cheryl Lee Ralph, which people will know now, because she's actually just won, I think it was an Emmy or a Golden Globe for her role in Abbott Elementary, which is the hit comedy drama that's on Disney Plus.
Yes.
I don't know if it's on Disney Plus in America, but yeah. And she played Lauryn Hill's mom in Sister Act 2. And she's just recently appeared with the rest of the cast in the 30th anniversary of that with Whoopi on her talk show. So yeah. But yeah, shocked that, and I could not find the reason why she was not asked to sing.
The base. So I don't know if this is the exact reason, but they were bringing back the Disney musical. So although Little Mermaid, the Crown. Ironic. That's one of the lyrics to one of the songs.
Yes,
and it's just distracted what I was saying. They actually wanted contemporary people in New York, singing those songs.
Yeah, because isn't she like a Broadway singer?
What's the name? Is it Thingy? Is it one of the Pointer Sisters?
Yes, that sings the voice.
So that
Ruth Pointer, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Ruth Pointer. But I'm saying Cheryl Lee Ralph. Is it because she's maybe more musically trained, like as in Broadway trained?
Yes.
And that wasn't the style they were looking for.
That song.
However, the person that was going to have the part originally, and again, this is Eisner, Whitney Houston.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm glad that didn't happen.
I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was asked, and I can't remember. I don't know. I've got it written down. I have got it written down. Yeah. I couldn't find the reason why she didn't take it. I mean, 1988, that would have been I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah.
So that would have been her pop stardom, like the start of that.
Do you know what? It might.
So maybe it was clash of schedules.
Well, I know that.
Or maybe they decided she's too poppy.
Well, they were a bit worried about Whitney Houston's people. I don't think she was, but she obviously sung. She didn't sing what was stereotypically black songs.
No, because it was pop.
It was pop.
Yeah, it wasn't R&B.
So the fact that she was a woman of colour singing pop kind of put her in a box that she didn't fit in. Because the music she was doing, she wasn't a girl group.
Yeah.
And her voice doesn't match them. And then on the other side, she's not producing music that was expected and was considered too white.
Yeah.
So whether or not this, because at the time, let's face it, Disney was a very white company.
Yeah. Maybe she thought, or her team thought, no, let's not go down this road because
this isn't for us.
Nah, maybe.
And also you've got Madonna who...
If anyone knows...
Yes.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
Because looking at Rita, she, even though that's not how Whitney looked at the time, but certainly in the 90s, like The Bodyguard, I mean, oh my God, like Rita could easily be like what Whitney would have looked like as a dog.
And I get the impression as well with Rita, I've got a whole backstory for her. I get the impression that she is older than the others.
Yes.
She has been, I mean, she's Nancy.
Yes.
She looks after the others, she's the mum of the others, basically.
Yeah.
But I just got the impression that she was a lot older. She maybe had a loving family.
Yeah.
Shoved out onto the street. Maybe there was puppies involved. I don't know. She's had a horrible life.
Yeah.
This cartoon dog.
Yeah.
And she's still a lovely person, I think.
Yeah, so maybe that older voice, even though at the time Cheryl Lee Ralph wasn't old, but she does have like
I mean, Whitney was brand new.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Whitney in the 2000s could have
maybe
done this.
Yeah. But yeah.
So, yeah. No,
But yeah, love Rita. Tito is voiced by Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
Who you will know from Cheech and Chong and the franchise because they did spin-offs of that. Yeah. From Dusk Till Dawn, Quentin Tarantino film, and Tin Cup, which is the golf film with Kevin Costner.
Disney fans
will
know.
Oh yeah, he did quite a few voices.
Oh well, most prominently, he was in Race to Witch Mountain, but he's also Ramon in Cars.
Yes.
He plays a character in Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Unfortunately, I don't know which one. He was one of the hyenas in the Lion King.
Yes, Benzie.
And I can't think of who it is, but he is in Coco.
Yeah, he plays when he goes to when the family take him to the person and the person checks how he's ended up, in the office, and then she gets the flower. He explains what she has to do with the flower, but because he won't promise to not play music, and then he runs away. I think it's him that he does the voice of.
Because I was a bit like, and I didn't want to do too much Googling and things. I like to know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's him. Or it's Uncle Hector. The uncle, the one that he bumps into first in the graveyard.
I'm not sure.
I think it's one of. I'm sure it's one of that. But anyway,
he was actually one of the people. So, Billy Joel was attached to this film in publicity, and so was Bette Midler. But Cheech Marin was the. This is the reason you're coming to see this film. It was the height of his popularity. He'd done that sitcom, I can't think of what it's called, is it Married with Children?
Yes.
And so literally he was the name that sold it.
Yeah.
And Bette Midler and Billy Joel was supporting that.
Yeah.
And that strikes me as really, especially with Bette Midler. Mm-hmm. But actually looking back over his career and what he was doing at that time. Yeah.
And he ad-libbed as well.
25%, he was the one I meant?
Yeah.
25% was ad-libbed. And he, That voice is so recognisable.
Oh my god, yeah.
And he became one of my favourite characters, and I always remember the trailer for the video that came out, and he has the last line, and what was it? He's something like, wow, that's why my woman, or
yeah.
something. And he just told, because he'd just been either kissed or electrocuted, and he said, and yeah, that always sticks in my head. Can't remember what he said, but that sticks in my head.
Right, Einstein, which is probably the one character in the gang that is probably the weakest and doesn't really have much going. And he's supposed to be, even though he's the biggest dog, he's the dumbest, you know, that whole... But the actor that plays him was really famous and big at the time and before. So he was played by Richard Mulligan, who was on Soap, the series, Empty Nest, The Golden Girls, and I also know him from the so bad it's good version of Babes in Toyland with Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore. But yeah, and he did a few other voice parts as well. But yeah, I think he was really big in the 70s and 80s. So even though he had a small part, he was a big name at the time. So
we haven't come across any, maybe Joey Lawrence, because his fame seems to come after.
Yeah.
We haven't actually had any yet where the fame isn't already there.
No.
We've had names.
Yeah.
Throughout.
And the last one I wrote down was Francis. Who is voiced by Roscoe Lee Brown. And it's funny because whenever I hear, when I was watching the film, I can see him. Like I knew exactly who it is, and I always picture him when I hear his voice. So he's he does a voice in Treasure Planet, and he's in Law and Order, and he was in The Cosby Show. But if you look him up and you see his face, like he's an older gentleman, and he's of colour as well. So he's a black actor.
African American.
Yeah.
Is he American? He's British. He's got. I mean, that's a good British accent. I will. I'm
gonna have to check.
You know, a few years ago.
No, because he did the Shakespeare. He was theatre, like the Shakespearean, like.
Here we go. What Shakespeare play is he watching?
Oh, it's is that Hamlet? Macbeth. Yeah, Macbeth.
Not Frankie.
Yeah.
Francis.
Yeah. I think he's also a voice in The Dinosaur as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You recognise him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But in a way where
I always envision him. Like I can see him when I hear his voice.
You know what? To me, if they were to remake this, I know what they'd do. They'd put Sarah McKellen in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's that character.
He was Linus in Will and Grace. You might not have... Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
So, yeah. Very... I like perfect for that role.
I was just about to say there was no actual voice in this that shouldn't be there.
No.
It was all...
And even the Dobermans, Roscoe and... I can't remember the other one. Like, I always think I know the actors because their voices go so well with those characters, even though they have a tiny part. Like,
everything's
when Roscoe does that smile where you see his teeth, like, I could picture the actor doing that.
this seems like a fun film to make,
Yeah.
a fun film to be in, and a fun film to watch.
Yeah.
Like, some things you can just tell were fun. Like, Will and Grace, I keep going back to that because that's all we're watching at the minute. You can tell when they have fun in their episodes.
Yeah.
You can just tell, and I think that definitely comes across. Again, Billy Joel was having fun.
Yeah.
Probably nervous as hell in this. What
Yeah.
is considered? Remember, it was called Oliver and Dodger at one point.
Yeah.
So he was a title character. But he's having fun.
I'm glad they changed it to Oliver and Company because the other
It's
characters were just
Yeah.
as good.
Yeah, and I think that should include like Georgette and just the extenuating.
Yeah.
You know, you got Fagin, even the butler. I like the butler.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who sits there and likes the butler? I can't remember who he was, who voiced him, but we would know him as a British personality.
Oh, I've already got the thing set up for Oliver and Company. So it is played by... Oh. Where is he? Oh, William Glover.
Sorry. William Glover is... who would... I mean, he's been in loads of...
So he is English. Again, Shakespearean actor.
So he's an old man in Game of... Have you seen Game of Thrones? Do you know anything about it? So you know the old man who's kind of got the bald spot and he's like really old and he's one of in the King's Court kind of thing and he's got like a greying beard and he's
it can't be him.
Must be.
No, his last role was in 1991.
Who am I thinking of?
Don't know. He was also and before that it was the Fresh Prince. So yeah, that was his last role. He was in next to Star Trek as well. Yeah, he was born in 1926.
Julian Glover, I'm thinking of.
Okay. But yeah, anyway. Right, so that is the cast.
I'm not deleting that bit, you could just listen to it. That's 3 minutes of your life.
That's the cast. Now, the music.
Mm-hmm.
Right, now, I'm not going to apologise if I burst into song here, because...
I'm sick of apologising.
This is one of... definitely in my top 3 favourite soundtracks.
There's only one song in this film that I don't like, and that's the one
It's the one that Jenny sings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me tear up.
But it doesn't fit
you and
in the
me
film.
together
Remember,
will be...
Copyright, 2 lines, that's all you can do.
Fine.
Chopsticks though, isn't it?
No, it's...
No, it's not. It's the one that Thingy plays. One of the kittens in the Aristocats.
What? Do me no, so me no.
Yeah,
No,
that's the tune.
no,
No,
don't think so. No.
You know what? I'm getting a
You're
lot of
just
stuff
making
thrown
it,
on
yeah.
this one. I might just give up.
Right, so the opening song, which goes perfect
Oh,
with that skyline.
yes.
Um,
And that saxophone.
oh,
Like,
Once Upon a Time in New York City. So music by Barry Mann and lyrics by the legendary,
a true Disney. hero.
true Disney hero, Howard Ashman. This was his first Disney song.
Yes.
And I did not know that this was his first. I always thought it was Little Mermaid.
I knew that he'd written a song in this one, but I always thought it was Why Should I Worry?
Oh, okay. See,
I
I
always
thought
thought
Billy
it was
Joel
that
had written that because that's his song. You just assume that that's...
I knew he didn't write it, and
So-
I merged the fact with the Ashman
Yeah.
before doing that one. Just a bit of background on him. Obviously, he's a star at this point.
Yes, because of
Little Shop
Little
of
Shop
Horrors.
of Horrors. I was going to say Rocky Horror, but
He
it's-
did
yeah.
do a few other off-Broadway. I think one of them was called Smile and things.
Yeah.
Which didn't quite go as well. But he was in that kind of group that Gever's Divine,
Yeah.
which we'll learn more about in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
And it's, is it John Waters?
Yeah, is it him with the little moustache?
With the little moustache.
Yes.
And obviously, we then get Hairspray out of that, which then goes on to be a musical.
Yeah.
And John Waters films. So he's from that kind of gay New York scene.
Yeah.
And again, New Yorker. And that song is just perfect.
Oh.
It's a perfect opening number.
And perfect choice of singer.
Yes,
Huey Lewis.
And yeah,
because he sings one of my other favourite songs from motion picture, and that's The Power of Love from Back to the Future.
Do you know what I learned a few years ago on doing a quiz? In 1984, there was 4 songs released by separate artists. They were different songs, but they all had the same title.
Yeah, The Power of Love. Because you've got
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, you've got
Huey Lewis.
Jennifer Rush, is it? Yeah.
But the other one,
I don't know what the other one is, but yeah. So yeah, Huey Lewis, who was huge in the 80s.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's in a star. He'd obviously, he also was involved in the We Are the World, Lionel Richie Band-Aid thing. Yeah. So yeah, huge, and yeah, great opening to the film. And speaking of the opening scene, you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Twin Towers.
No.
Oh.
Yes, I do know. I do know about that, but that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, so it's one of the few films that still contains their original scenes that include the Twin Towers, and it's the one of very few that you see front and centre shots of the Twin Towers, because most film companies either reduced the scenes that had them in, or would take them out completely so as to not upset people. But obviously, because this is animated, Disney wasn't really able to do that. However, I think it's good that it's kept in.
Yeah, I actually think that that's a mark of
that time.
Yeah, but also...
And you can't erase it. Yeah. It has been erased, technically. I know that.
The thing is, with the erasing the towers before what happened, I don't know, that just has some really...
I get maybe around the time... Maybe around the time that it happened, I understand, but...
I know the outworld to Friends.
Yeah, and Spider-Man as well, I think.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the one with Tobey Maguire. Because I think he swings off of them.
Oh, and no, I mean Friends... I mean, complete poor timing, but Chandler goes into an airport and makes jokes about carrying an explosive.
Right.
And because of that one joke...
Yeah, it had to be cut.
They're detained.
Yeah.
They had to refilm everything. So with Monica with the dreads, season 9 is that?
Oh, okay.
When they've come back from, so it's a later season, but it coincided.
Yeah.
And I
poor taste. Yeah,
that would have been. But I do think erasing the Twin Towers.
I'm glad that it was kept in. Because that's how I remember the skyline as a kid. Yeah. And that to me, it represents 80s, New York.
New York in the 80s was its own thing.
Yeah. It's like an aesthetic.
Yeah. And that's part of it, and it should be part of it, because it was there, and also, I don't know, just erasing something just like that because of that reason.
Yeah. I think it was around about the time that it just happened that, companies thought, let's... But but they didn't do that.
Films, just to not. But I think by erasing it, you're kind of removing it from. I don't know. There's certain things I don't.
Anyway, right,
Moving on.
so the next song, which is... Oh, I change my mind all the time, like, about my favourite. Because it's between this and Streets of Gold. Yeah. So yeah, Why Should I Worry? Music and lyrics by Dan Hartman and Charlie Midnight. And it's sung by Billy Joel. Now, even this song gets Ben
It's a good song.
tapping his feet.
Yeah.
Or even singing along.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's one of those where if when we're walking around, never see something like, I don't know, why should I worry? Why should I worry?
Yeah.
And then carry on with the sentence.
But
it's a tick.
At the time, obviously as a kid, we don't pay attention to lyrics.
No.
You know. And for a long time, I only ever sung there, why should I worry?
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, and now we've been to New York,
Yeah.
all the places that he mentions, you know,
Leicester
Chelsea,
Street.
Leicester Street, and They Adore Me at the Ritz.
Yeah.
It's like, although it's so cleverly written, and for the setting, like it's for the film, it's
Yeah.
for that city. I mean, if there was such a thing as a New York soundtrack, like, this should be on it. The first two songs
Yeah.
should be on it.
To be honest, I think the whole... Georgette's song, maybe not, but those other three, Streets of Gold,
Yeah.
Why Should I Worry, and
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in New York City, they are just New York.
Yeah.
Just New York.
And the whole scene, you see so much as well with the...
orange tubes that
Yeah.
with the smoke. Now, do you know what? When I went to New York, I wanted to see one of them.
Yeah.
And it was because I'd seen it in this
Yeah.
film. And, you know, New York for me is from this period of time.
Yeah.
Because the films that I watched growing up, Muppets Take Manhattan, we were then watching things like Friends. There was obviously everything set in New York,
yeah.
and it was all based around the 80s, early 90s,
Yeah.
which this is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see a lot of things to do with that era. Sesame Street. I know it doesn't exist, but I wanted to see that kind of thing.
But there's so many things that people associate with the city that are in this scene.
Yeah, alone.
Between the hot dog vendor to the yellow cab.
Oh, hot dog vendor. I have a fact about him.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Louis.
Yes, Louis. You carry on.
Okay. The roadworks going on.
Yeah.
You know, all of that. It's all hearing the honking, the stopping of the traffic when these...
All the other dogs doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's... What we've got to remember is just... I don't know what the year difference is. I think it's about 2 years. Fame was out, and they were doing that street number.
Yeah.
It's almost identical in a way, and it's because of how fashionable New York was.
Yeah.
My Louis.
Right, okay.
Effect. So Louis is voiced by Frank Welker.
Okay.
Does that name ring a bell?
Ish, yeah, ish.
So he's done a lot of voice work. For Disney, for everywhere else. But his most famous roles are as Fred and Scooby-Doo in Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
Now, it is a mystery why Scooby-Doo is on Georgette's
her
picture thing.
collage of all her associates, lovers, who knows? Because even Ratkin's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's to do with the fact that he was in the film, because normally he doesn't do
probably a little Easter egg
that talk. He does the Fred Jones one.
Yeah.
But normally he does
like
voices, animal sounds and stuff like that, or he'll do random caricatures.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was doing this, and I think actually one of the writers was also working on Scooby-Doo as well. But I do think that's the reason.
Yeah.
It's never been confirmed, but I Yeah. You've heard it here first, folks.
Right, so our next favourite, so this is your favourite, and the one that I'm always torn with, because it's like, oh no, this is my favourite, and then it's like, no, that's my favourite.
This has been my favourite since I have been a Disney fan.
Okay.
When I was growing, I mean, I had to wait for obviously the 1990s VHS.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Why Should I Worry was my favourite growing up.
Yeah.
But this is just my favourite.
Oh, yeah.
I just love how it's made out of the sounds of New York.
Yeah.
Like, I go back to that Sesame Street kind of vibe where you've got the Bronx, basically, and you've got the netted basketball courts and stuff like that. This takes me to there.
Yeah.
And there's a film actually called, what's it called? It's got Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds.
But that's not set in New York.
No, but that
I don't think. I think it's LA.
That kind of feel
Yeah.
where it's the poor end, basically, and that song, the beginning of it, where it's like it just brings that image, and when a song brings an image,
it's the way her ears
she is
like shake while she's singing.
This is
so Streets of Gold, music by Tom Snow or Show, lyrics by Dean Pitchford, and sung by Ruth Pointer from the Pointer Sisters.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But again, think about the 80s.
I know.
I mean, you name me 10 80s songs, that is going to be...
Yeah.
Someone's going to mention it. It's not going to be number one, but someone's going to mention it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's there.
Perfect isn't easy, but Perfect isn't easy. Georgette's song, music and produced by Mr. Barry Manilow.
Yes.
And when I discovered it was him, it's like, oh yeah, it does sound like a Manilow song. You know how people just have a sound
like Billy Joel.
Yeah.
What I like about this one is here we are in New York, 1980.
Yeah.
And what I love about this song is, and this bit, and it's Georgette as well, there was a renaissance of that 1950s. Big bands, big films, and shoulder pad dresses.
It's like a showgirl.
And that, the song, the descending down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Marilyn Monroe's done that about 50 times.
Yeah.
And the way, and I realised it when we were watching as well, because I never really got what people were on about. But Georgette's Fringe is done in the same style as who stars in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with
Rita Hayworth.
Rita Hayworth, where she's got that front curl and it's done, and she's got the bow at the back.
Yeah.
She is the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
This is the past, and she is the past animal. She is the one that's being replaced by a little kitten. Yeah. Which sadly does happen in real life. So I love that. I love the descent, the birds just around like a 1950s Disney film. Yeah. And obviously we know from other areas of making this film is they were influenced a lot by Lady and the Tramp, which was made in
the 50s.
The 50s.
Yeah.
So it's... Yeah. I just love how... And yet it still feels like the 80s.
I know.
Everything... I think it's the purple or blue, whichever colour her eyeshadow or makeup is.
I think it's blue. She's purple, but the eyeshadow's blue. Yeah, I think,
And that's what makes her 80s.
Yeah, I think as well, it's very well done, the way that it's almost like she has shoulder pads.
Yes.
But she doesn't.
She doesn't, because
the way that she walks, it's almost like she's got Dynasty shoulder pads.
And the little waist.
Yeah. Very well done.
It's...
Last song which is your least favourite,
Yeah.
but I think works really well in the scene.
In the context of yeah.
Good Company, music and lyrics by Ron Roca and Rob Menkoff. And you will know this name
Okay.
because he becomes the director of The Lion King. So he dabbles in
Go on then, give us a clue.
a lot of
areas
for Disney. So, yeah. But he goes on to direct The Lion King.
I don't know the director of The Lion King.
Oh, well, do you do now?
No, you're going to have to tell me his name, you haven't said.
I did! Rob Menkoff!
Oh!
So the writer of that song
you just,
goes on
okay.
to direct The Lion King. Sorry, I thought I made that clear.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, I still don't know who, because I've never really studied The Lion King.
Well, we're gonna soon.
I know. I am looking forward to it. God knows how long those podcasts are going to be, because we know what happened with the Black Cauldron. So
Right. So, will we quickly go through the facts?
yeah. I mean, I've got some making of behind the scenes things.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, first up, the computer generated images.
Yeah. It's like the big thing with this one.
So I thought you were going to mention this when you mentioned New York earlier on.
No.
But basically, New York is all the taxes, the buildings, everything is computer generated.
Yeah.
Which, so basically, for anyone who doesn't know, there's 11 minutes of computer generated imagery in this film, and it's what, an hour and 15? Did you say?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's the
that's a good
staircase,
percentage.
the car,
all
the train,
cars,
the bridge.
the train, the bridge,
Yeah.
the subway.
Yeah. All of that.
The little motorbike thing.
Yeah, that
he
Fagin
has.
uses. Yeah.
That's actually designed to look like the original Disney cars, like in 101 Dalmatians, where it all moves separately.
Right. Okay.
So there are 12 components to that car that independently move to each other on the computer.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way I see it is they're made on the computer, printed after someone colours them in.
No, that's not how it's done.
It's not quite how
No.
But yes, with the subway scene at the end, so that bit was a good few minutes.
Yeah, it was.
The only things that are hand-drawn in that entire sequence are the characters.
Yeah.
Because the motorcycle, the car, and the train...
Yeah, and the bridge is all...
subway...
Yeah.
Everything is all computer, so it's only the actual characters.
Yeah, it's the first Disney film to have its own department set up expressly for the purpose of computer graphics.
And I think Basil, the Great Mouse Detective, should actually, get some
credit
for that.
Yeah.
Because although, the first film released using that for Disney was Black Cauldron, but the Basil the Great Mouse Detective, it was used first. And
but they didn't have a department until this film.
Yeah. And I mean now, so the only thing that I could tell was done on the computer was the staircase.
Okay.
It's the only thing that I could tell was done on computer.
Yeah, I thought that was very impressive for the era, for the year.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bear in this blah 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 blah, and you better. Bear in mind at this point, Toy Story is 7 years away?
Yeah. And bear in mind that at this point, Lasseter, sorry, I'm just opening my water. Lasseter has already left. He's been turned down by Disney for his idea of introducing computer graphics and making computer animated films. And he's been told, no, get out of here! No way!
It will never work.
So, which is so ironic.
I know. That couldn't be Mr. Eisner again, could it?
Yeah, him and I think Roy was also a big fat no as well. He was very vocal with, no, we have to keep it hand drawn. You mentioned how they referenced Lady and the Tramp.
Yes.
And like Lady and the Tramp, they took photographs from the ground level of a dog of New York.
And just to make this more, and I only found this out, bear in mind I've researched this film before to do my essays and my book, which is out now. But I only found this out now after doing all of that. The streets are real streets.
Yes.
So they are drawn on the computer, obviously, of real places.
Yeah.
Whereas before, in Lady and the Tramp, it was just done as a perspective thing. These are actual photos that someone has then... Well,
yeah, and speaking of real streets, the address on Oliver's tag is Bette Midler's address. Her real address. Now I don't know, but it was at the time.
Do you know what? This brings me on.
And I know she does live in New York, so.
And we've got a thingy at the in the next one, in the little bonus one.
Oh yeah.
But when that film was released, I won't tell you which one. We'll get
Okay.
there. You have to wait till next week. But Michael Eisner's personal telephone number is visible on some laser discs.
Oh yeah, I heard that rumour.
And DVD.
Oh my god.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure he's changed his number
Yeah, I'm
now.
sure he has now, yeah.
Yeah. And who needs to talk with him? I've got Bob's number on speed dial. You know what? I really hope he doesn't listen to this. It's like suing me as we speak. I don't think he cares that
This was the
much.
last animated Disney classic to use cell overlay, a technique used to make the backgrounds match the lines of the Xeroxed objects in the film. So yeah. The dogs dances. Oh yeah. Right, so another New York thing. So the dogs dances both during Why Should I Worry and basically any scene that the dog dances.
Yeah.
Were all based on choreography of Bob Fosse. So yeah, I thought that was.
And for those who don't know who he is,
Oh.
get yourself a episode.
No, if
of
anyone's been
RuPaul.
well, yeah,
Mentioned.
if you've watched Cabaret,
Yeah,
then you'll know who Bob Fosse is. And if you still don't know, there's a mini series on Disney Plus. It's really good.
I have not watched.
Oh, have you not?
No,
It's so good.
I hope there's no spoilers.
Patrick Stewart was considered to voice Francis. I meant to say that earlier.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which is weird because of the Sir Ian McKellen suggestion.
And the fact that Roscoe was in. I said he was in Star Trek Generation as well. It's
yes.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they all, and he, being a Shakespearean actor, I mean, Patrick Stewart, he's done his Shakespeare. They must have been in a circle.
Do you know what? I will say this, that I think, although Patrick Stewart would have been a really, really good idea, there's something about the person who actually played him, just the way he looks, the way he feels 1980s New York.
Yeah.
He just feels it. So I'm really glad that they didn't go with him, even though he would have been a good choice. But Lady and the Tramp. Obviously, there's one or two cameos there in the film.
Oh yeah.
Did you spot them all?
Yeah, I saw Peg.
Yep.
Jock.
Yep. And
Is it Rusty?
yeah, I can't remember his name, whether it's Rusty or Trusty.
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 Trusty, yeah.
Yeah.
And Pongo's in it as well.
And Pongo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This was the first animated film to have to begin production under Eisner and Katzenberg. Yeah, from start to finish.
I will say that actually over the next few years I can see why Katzenberg got his job. Then something happens.
Yeah. I can see a difference in, I think the cast difference alone shows that this film was from start to finish under them
And
compared to
faith.
before.
There's more faith in this.
Yeah. Love them or hate them, they did a lot of good as well is not so good.
Yeah.
But all in all,
Yeah.
where the company goes from here on out is good.
Yeah. I think in the early 90s something just switches. There is a switch, and I think that for me the switch is The Lion King.
Yeah, well, when Frank Wells dies, I think.
Because that is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it just...
Do you think?
Well...
I don't. See, I'm not massively... Like, I'm not... I appreciate The Lion King.
Oh, but what I mean is, like, look... When we look back on it, you know, it's The Lion King.
Yeah,
like, you've got Beauty and the Beast, you've got Aladdin,
and then Lion King.
And then you've got the bits.
Yeah.
But from the point of The Lion King...
Yeah, no other film gets the same treatment.
Till about, what, would you say Tangled?
Yeah.
'Cause...
Yeah. Even though we like others, but yeah. In terms of worldwide...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the time when it kind of switches as well. And I don't know when Katzenberg leaves either.
Oh, I do. Yeah. It's during Lion King.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's during Lion King. Because that's in the Waking Up Sleeping Beauty. That's the last one that he...
Oh, I've...
Have you not watched that?
I have, but this is the next block.
Right, okay,
So I've got up to this point, I've got that Howard Ashman documentary to rewatch, which I've got to prepare myself
I can watch
for.
that Waking Up Sleeping Beauty documentary over and over.
I've got that one. And
I always find something new in it. Speaking of, the man that Fagin tries to pawn his Mickey Mouse watch is a caricature of Peter Schneider, the then Vice President of Disney Animation.
Do you not like him?
He's just,
I've mentioned this one in a few other podcasts, but as we're talking about Oliver and Company, and people may only come to this one, Jenny was meant to be a grown-up Penny from The Rescuers.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Which I just don't get.
Well, she's adopted in the film, so she would have parents, and she would...
But I don't know why they went down that road of linking that with an Oliver twist.
I think the thing is they would have had to have linked... Not that they would have had to, but I think they were kind of... They went down that rabbit hole of... We need to link all of our films in some way.
Or tried to.
Yeah. I mean, in The Rescuers, they were going to bring back Cruella.
Yeah.
And I think that... I mean, luckily, touch wood, apart from the Christmas comic strips and specials like Once Upon a Studio and stuff, they've not mixed those characters. House of Mouse did it really, really well, but I think that should be left there.
Yeah.
And I also think that Mr. Iger should put House of Mouse on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I've only got it on DVD and it's scratched.
Because I'm sorry, I've got to just point out there that that's one of your best series you've put on the Disney Channel.
There is better. The animation on it is weak.
No, but it's one of the best. Like, if you think about what was on the Disney Channel, I mean, there's this or there's Johnny Tsunami.
I don't know. I didn't watch the Disney Channel.
No, neither did I. But that's a film that was like it got like sequels.
Oh my god,
it's not good.
Right, we veered off.
No, we haven't. We're talking about Jenna. Jenny and Penny.
Yeah, I wrote down the film that Dawn DeLuise turned down to be in this. That was also Don Bluth. It was The Land Before Time. And it was released the same day. So he was going to do another voice for Don Bluth, but he'd always wanted to do a voice for Disney, and when he got the opportunity to do this, he turned down Land Before Time. Which I'm glad, because that again is a film I had when I was a kid, and I watched countless times.
Yeah, that is.
And I can't imagine what voice he would have played. because it's all little ones.
Yeah, I think that's probably what.
So I'm so glad he turned down that.
So I think there was. I mean, I don't know if this really went on or anything, but I think if there was some playful banter, like, "Oh, you've turned down my film, and now we're releasing it at the same time," Don Bluth may have had the laugh by saying that it had the better opening weekend. It was number 1, whilst Oliver and Company was number 4. However, overall, Oliver has made more money.
Yeah, well, it's the first animated film to have a worldwide gross of 100 million in its initial release. Its success encouraged Disney to release animated feature films at a faster pace than before.
And you know what really, I mean, this was up against the Don Bluth, and we've mentioned this other film before. I don't think this is Don Bluth, though. But when the film was re-released in the 90s, it was put up against All Dogs Go to Heaven too.
Yeah, that is Don Bluth. Oh, yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven was Don Bluth.
I mean, this is the second one, but yes, it was in there. And I believe starring a Cheech Marin.
Yeah, quite possibly. I can't remember. I did have All Dogs 2 as well as the first one.
I had a Christmas one.
Because it's Charlie Sheen that plays Charlie in the second one, whereas Burt Reynolds plays Charlie in the first.
I had a Christmas.
Yeah, there was the Christmas one?
Yeah.
Yes!
I watched it once, and that was the end of that. You mentioned earlier that it was released on the same day as
Land Before Time.
Mickey's 60th.
Oh, yes, yeah.
There was a celebratory programme aired later on that day, starring Cheech Marin and Bette Midler.
Oh, wow.
And to celebrate the 60th, and I do like this minute, it contains some animation things, and the opening animation was a Mr. Rabbit from our next.
Oh, okay.
So, viewers, if you were around in the 80s and you went to go see Oliver and Company on opening day, you could then tune into TV and you could see Cheech Marin and Bette Midler on the Mickey's 60th.
Yeah. Probably on like ABC or something.
Yeah, this is a big old show. And then once you'd watched that, you could go and watch The Land Before Time, and you would have had
a great weekend.
A proper day.
Yeah.
That would have been good. Mickey's 60th birthday, I won't tell you how I've seen it. However, you can find it on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's fun.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a... Oh, Mickey's brilliant, isn't he?
Oh, my God.
But...
Again, that is so Eisner.
And you know what? I think actually, if I'd have done that day and done the... Because who I am now, if it was Mickey's 60th and they were releasing a film on that day, I'd have watched the film and then watched Mickey's 60th on the same day. I'd have done that.
Oh, yeah, we'd have made a day of it.
Yeah. So, and Land Before Time's a good film.
Brilliant film.
Yeah. I don't think it stood the test of time like other films.
It's probably the one dinosaur film that's been done for children that I can honestly say that it has been done very well.
Yeah.
Because
they're not caricatures, are
no,
they? They're realistic in a way.
In a way, and they're kids.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I was in tears for my entire childhood.
Oh, that first scene. Well, we're not here to talk about.
No, we're not. But
I know.
The last thing I'll say on it is the leaf always. It was made out of leather for me.
Okay.
I was like, that's not a leaf. That looks like it's made out of a...
and Diana Ross's song at the end. Oh.
So, I think...
Yeah, that's all my facts.
So the other thing as well is there is real adverts in the film.
Oh, yeah, in Times Square.
Coca-Cola and McDonald's.
I wonder how much that cost.
Nothing.
Really?
Absolutely nothing.
Free advertisement.
Free advertisement. Katzenberg said that you cannot do New York without adverts.
No, you can't.
And rather than doing maybe a Coca-Coda.
Oh, yeah.
Coca-Soda.
But the trouble they would have needed to go to contact all those businesses to say, look, we're doing your ad.
I don't even know if they... I mean, Disney got a lot of flack for that. A lot.
Really?
And it was Katzenberg that... Because they were advertising to kids. But they weren't. They had no connection with the company. They just made Coca-Cola adverts and McDonald's ends. It was part of the New York backdrop. Just as if you was to film something on Times Square now, you would.
Yeah, I suppose.
Disney in the background,
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to do. And but the adverts, the trailers for Oliver and Company, had to make sure that they didn't focus.
Yes, of course.
On the companies, because then they would be selling those, because it would be an advert with those companies on.
Yeah.
So Katzenberg again winning points on this one.
Okay.
He's fighting for what he believes is right.
Yeah. He wants a really good representation of New York.
Yeah, and with everyone that's been brought into it, he did.
Yeah.
That happened. So they're my facts that I have. I obviously go into my videos and all of that lot. So it was first released on VHS in 1996, which is also the same year it was re-released again, Still Dogs Go to Heaven 2. DVD was 2002, whilst Blu-ray was 2013, and it was on Disney Plus day of release. Funny enough, in the UK, on its original release, it wasn't distributed by Buena Vista. It was distributed by Warner Brothers.
What, Oliver and Company?
Yeah, in the UK.
Weird.
So, but then since then it's been
Buena
Vista or Disney and things. And I couldn't find any information about the parks.
I mean, I've seen pictures on Google of there being floats that are Oliver and Company related.
Yes.
And there has been a Dodger.
Yeah.
And an Oliver and a Georgette.
I know one thing that annoyed me was when it was the anniversary of Oliver and Company. They didn't do the legacy ornament in the UK. They did it over in America. And we went to Florida that year and it wasn't there. So that was, But other than that, I have not. The only thing I could find out about the parks in France, singer Anne Meeson, who unfortunately sorry about that, I haven't heard of. She, because the film was so popular in France, she brought out her own song called Oliver, and she performed it. She was hired to perform it at Euro Disney for the first year of it being open.
Oh my God, I've never heard of it.
No.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to listen to it on Spotify, but Anne Meeson.
I mean, I remember, I have vivid memories of seeing merch. And I had a Dodger plush. I think my family got it from America.
My future little one.
Oh.
Thanks to a recent Disney sale of their 100. Also has a Dodger. Okay. And also a Oliver.
Oliver. Well, this is this is an original. It is. I can't remember what happened to him. I think I had an Oliver as well, but I had merch.
I had the McDonald's toys with the glasses on. Because it was re-released in the UK. Yeah. And then the video came out. And actually most people thought that it was a new film.
Yeah.
They not seen it on the original. So a lot of...
And I think I had bedding. I think...
I definitely didn't.
I think I had bedding, like pyjamas. This to me is like... In terms of having Disney stuff, I had Oliver and Company.
I wonder if this is because of when it came out, because obviously it had been the end of 1988. You'd been.
I think my family brought stuff from America.
I was going to say you'd be coming up to 3. You'd be that right age to buy. Not necessarily play sets and things, but plush. bedding, PJs, like
Yeah.
you say. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I never had anything apart from the McDonald's toys. I do remember, though, going to Woolworths
Yes.
and picking up that VHS,
Oh yeah.
which I had until very recently.
And I'm sure you got Oliver with it. A little Oliver.
Yes, I seem to have come across an Oliver when I was clearing out stuff. In my
Yeah,
mum's
I'm
attic.
sure it was a little,
Yeah.
not a beanbag,
No,
but
I think
a
it was just a
little-
little.
soft toy. I'm sure
Yeah.
you got one.
I loved this. When it came out, I loved watching it. It was a good film.
Yeah, well, this is my first 5.
Oh, it's got 5.
It has got a 5 from me.
So, this is a 4.
Okay.
I love Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
And the only reason it's not a 5, and it's such a petty reason, but I do think 5 needs to be that perfect mark kind of thing. The songs stop halfway through that film, and then Why Should I Worry is just repeated towards the
Okay.
end. And I felt it needed another song.
Okay.
And actually, I don't know where I would have put this song, because I also felt that Oliver could have had a really good princess song
Yes.
at the beginning, because actually, out of the main characters, he doesn't
and
sing.
yet he can sing. Joey Lawrence
Yeah, and
can
it's
sing. Apparently, that was how he started.
as-
Because he's from Philadelphia, but his mum would drive him to New York to do auditions, and he did adverts and whatnot, and he performed on, is it something Letterman?
Or David Letterman.
No, it wasn't him. It was another guy, an old guy. Because he talks about it a lot in his podcast. But anyway, it was a talk show, and he sung on that as a kid. And
I think that again, I don't know where I would put it in this, because you could almost say, well, if that's the case, then don't have Once Upon a Time in New York, because that's Oliver's sad song. And it's like, no, I'm not losing that.
yeah,
I think he could have had a dilemma song. Does he go back with his friends? Does he stay with Jenny? I think that's where it could have been. But the songs just stop. And for such a good soundtrack,
yeah,
it's such a shame. Because that could have had 2 more songs towards the end.
maybe, yeah,
Like,
easily,
yeah,
because the songs were so good.
yeah. And I think that would have put it up to a 5 for me. Because it's in that balance. Is it the last of the Dark Ages, or is it the first of the Renaissance?
To me, I think it's the first.
I think it's the first of the Renaissance, and we've kind of positioned it in the wrong place in our podcast, because it's kind of the end of the Dark
because
Ages
it's classed
as part of that era,
yeah, this is the last of the. Is it the Bronze or is it the Dark Age?
This is the Dark. This
Right,
is the Dark
okay.
Age. Yeah. So I think Bronze is.
We've had that.
Yeah,
I think that was the 70s, 60s, 70s, was it?
I think it's around the time of the
Jungle Book and that.
yeah.
Well, no, this to me, if I was going to rearrange it, to me this is the beginning of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that this film doesn't have
A
or
song
is
at the
missing
end.
that the other films to come.
It's fun. I said earlier in the thing, I was kind of lead you down a bit of.
Because
a
you could say
rabbit
the same
hole.
with, we're going to, the next classic is Little Mermaid. And Under the Sea is the last song.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you could say, but then that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got
Apart from, I mean, Vanessa.
all the. Yeah, I wouldn't even call that a song. It's like a
Ultimate
little
design.
chorus. But it's. To me, it has everything that What's to Come has.
Yeah.
good cast, good characters, good story, and music.
Yeah.
Like, all the essence.
Everything, as I say, is perfect about this, but I mean, it's clearly not noticeable in The Little Mermaid then, but in this one, it was noticeable, and I think it's because I love the songs.
So much, you wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that, I mean, that's the only reason it's a 4. I'd go 4.5. It's no, 4.9. I'm not, I can't give it a 5 because of that, but whatever you want to, the one below 5 is what I'd go, because, no, I really like this film. I loved it growing up. After I got the VHS, obviously.
Yes, I think, again, I had this on pirate. Oopsies.
I was the right age to get it. I was 6.
I know I watched it from little, so I must have had a pirate. Because I would have been 10.
Yeah.
And I definitely watched it before that.
So you probably...
So, yeah.
I mean, I loved it then. I thought it was a more grown-up Disney film. So in The Black Cauldron, I spoke about, this is more of a grown-up one.
Yeah.
So when I was getting to that age where I was leaving Disney for a while and on Shrek.
Yeah.
Oliver and Company still... It was part of it. There was like a little collection where you could watch.
Yeah.
And it was The Black Cauldron, Oliver and Company, Lilo and Stitch, and Emperor's New Groove. They were still... that was still fine for me as a teenage boy to watch.
Okay.
In my mind. But, yeah. I just really like it. It's one of my favourite, and, you know, I see a Christmas ornament, it gets bought. I see a pin, it gets bought.
Yeah.
I see plush.
Yeah.
It was one of the first that I got on DVD. It was one of the first that I got on Blu-ray when it came out. I mean, literally, it came out, and I got it, and then had to buy it again to get the shiny cover.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy this one.
My question with this film is... And if anybody knows the answer...
Why should I worry?
Please let us know when you leave the review. And or message us on Threads or email us. But why are none of these songs ever featured on a Disney playlist or on any of the Disney compilation albums that we've had?
Why Should I Worry was on one of them.
Which one?
Oh, a 90s one.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
No, honestly.
I had it on a CD.
I think you might have had the soundtrack.
No. I only had Why Should I Worry?
No.
I only had that as part of a CD.
Or was that a cassette?
Yes, it was a cassette, yes.
No, I remember getting... when CDs first started.
I wonder whether it was just a
tape
with it on
maybe
that one song, and then on the back was maybe the Georgette song.
Yeah.
I seem to remember I could listen to that.
I had, when CDs became like, the thing, and cassettes were, oh no, it's old fashioned. Oh no, you don't have to rewind. There was 2 volumes of Disney. And I'm sure it was like called something like Disney Ultimate Collection Volume 1.
Yeah.
And then Volume 2. And there were the covers were like Mickey's silhouette in the background, and then it just had the title over it. And it was like a dark blue, and then...
I think I know what, yeah.
Yeah, and it had like songs from like The Parent Trap, the original Parent Trap, and... Von Drake's Red, Yellow, Green, Red, Blue, 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 you know, all those old songs. It had Mary Poppins songs, like every Disney song from Disney films. Even Candle in the Water was on this from Pete's Dragon, but not Why Should I Worry?
I wonder if it's got anything to do with the fact that these are stars with their own music.
Well, I mean, I always thought it was because in my mind I just assumed, oh well, obviously Billy Joel did the soundtrack, so obviously he didn't give Disney the rights to have it constant. That's what I had as my reason. But now finding out that he had nothing to do with the writing of the music and that it's all these different people, I just found it strange.
Yeah.
I mean, Barry Manilow's not going to say no.
No, he might.
No, because he loves the fact that his songs are out there.
So, I can't see anyone being.
And Howard Ashman. I mean, why did the Little Mermaid and that be on, but not? So it can't be that. So I would like to know. So if somebody can tell me why the song, none of the songs.
Great Detective. It's not even on Spotify.
Is it not?
No.
It is on Apple. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
So I don't know what Disney's. They're just trying to hide them under the carpet, aren't they? Which I don't get with this.
No, I don't get. So
because this,
Answer, please.
Yeah, Bob. I'll catch you. You wait.
So.
Buying you toothpaste. I'll get you. I've put you off there. So.
No, I was going to say we're coming to the end. We've kept you longer than expected, but
we're getting towards the 2-hour mark.
I know, can't believe it, but
we've been chatting.
Yeah, I know we've kind of gone off a bit, but oh well. But this is going to be the end of a block for us. We've got a bonus episode coming next week.
Yeah.
But just to pay homage to this decade, the 80s. But we're going to have a bit of a break as well, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to go for a break because we're going to we've got a new element that we're really excited for.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that it's perfect. And to do that, it does mean that we've got to have just that little bit of a break.
Yeah. And there's a few things happening in our personal lives.
Yes.
You know, we have a life outside the podcast.
Yes, yeah.
You've got your writing.
Yes.
I've just moved house.
By the time this podcast comes out, actually, I think I'll be on book number 3 in a year.
Wow.
So, or the third one will be announced.
Yeah.
So it will literally be a very busy time.
I've just moved house. And by the time this podcast comes out, I will be thinking about my outfits. Yes, I'll be a year older. Oh, you slipped that one in, didn't you? I'll be sorting out my outfits for Disney because we go Disneyland Paris in July, and then a cruise in August. No, not a Disney cruise. I wish, but no. Me and Ben are going on our first cruise in August. So we've got a lot going on.
Yeah, and we just want to get the next.
And the summer holidays for me will be difficult because the boys will not be at school.
Yeah.
So to record in peace.
But I will do a few hero.
Yes, there'll be little things that we'll do. Bits. We spoke about I want to do something maybe on Don Bluth.
Yes.
Because I feel he's been...
Yeah.
And we're coming to... we've already done a couple of films where he's had a couple of successes over Disney.
Well, Elephant Company, we've talked about Don Bluth throughout, and he left a few years before.
So
I think we'll...
But yes. But we have our bonus one next week, so stay tuned for that because it's a good one.
Oh yeah,
and it ends this block nicely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, perfect ending.
Yeah.
To
what's called the Dark Age.
Yeah,
which is the wrong title. Yeah, no. Right.
Right. Well, on that one,
yes,
we'll see you next week anyway for our bonus. And we'll see you the odd time, but have a lovely
summer. Let us know what you're up to. Are you going on a Disney cruise? Are you going to Disney?
Yes. Go over to Threads. Let us know. Instagram. What else we got? We've got I
think that's it.
TikTok.
Yes. We are on TikTok. We are on TikTok.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email us.
Leave
a review.
Yeah, we'll spend summer not necessarily doing the podcast, but
we'll be doing other things. Yes, we'll be very active on.
And
we'll try to be anyway.
Cannot wait to be back. And
I know, because this next era is a big one. And we want to do it justice.
Yeah.
Because it's the Renaissance.
Yeah.
So.
And it's our era.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, well,
Okay.
right.
Bye!
TTFN!